Shalom and blessings to you all, saints. Blessings and greetings to you in the name of Yahweh our Father, Yeshua being his Son, Yeshua the Messiah. This continues to be the day that Yahweh has made, and we are encouraged to rejoice and to be glad in it. As you join this broadcast, please indicate to me whether you hear me clearly and you see me clearly, so that we can proceed with this, our fellowship moment here. As I've promised you, and I've kept that word, I will always be before you for as long as I can speak, even if I can't walk. For as long as I have the ability to speak, I shall proclaim the word and the mind of Yahweh until he tells me that I should no longer do so. And that is a solemn commitment that I've made in reference to my assignment, because it's not from me. It's as Shaul the apostle have said, it's when you are arrested by the Most High Yahweh, you do not have an option. There's nothing called free will when it comes to the things of Yahweh. Yirmiyahu the prophet, his name was never Jeremiah, his name is Yirmiyahu. He said that, Yahweh, do you know that it's not within the power of a man to control his steps. It is not within man's power to determine his way. You do not have that power. You are given what is considered to be options, or what are considered to be options, and you exercise them within a space of control. That is not called free will, because freedom speaks to the absence of influence or authority. And no human being can function in the absence of influence or the absence of authority. For example, if you're driving down the street and you see the three lights, it's called a traffic light. Red is an influence. In that very minute, you have to make a decision: do I obey it or do I disobey? Then if you make a thought, the thought occurs to you that you should disobey and not stop, then you begin to process the consequences. Do I have to look for cops? Do I have policemen? What will happen to me? That is what the absence of freedom speaks to. So you are free to operate in a confined space. I bid you all shalom. As I've said, therefore, I have been apprehended or arrested by Yahweh, the only true and living God. And based on that apprehension, I speak without caution. I am persuaded, I am fully convinced that our Father, Yahweh Elohim, Yahweh the mighty God, Yahweh Savot, Yahweh God of hosts, God of armies, as he told the prophet, that those who are, the prophet told his servant, as a matter of fact, those who are with us, is he here, are far more than those who are against us. And that's when an entire army surrounded the house of Elisha. He said, those who are for us far outnumber those who are against us. To those of you who dwell in other nations, and you saints, what has happened in this country of Guyana, here in South America, is very relevant to you. For you have seen, through your following me, and through paying attention to matters that have arisen here, how a compromised church functions. You have seen that which I shall speak to today, which is that the prophets in our land have sinned. Prophets, they are twofold. A prophet is one who foretells the mind or the future, and one who tells forth or speaks the mind of Yahweh. But it's also another one, a threefold. It's mainly one who's called a herald, one who just speaks. He utters, he speaks or she speaks. Could be in spiritual matters or otherwise. Hence they're what you call false prophets, who are those who speak without divine or Yahweh's instruction. Permit me to address this nation today. Our nation is in trouble. In 2020, I made the first of many announcements to you, Guyana, that you are in trouble. Before the elections of 2020 of 2025, or recently held elections were had, I said to this nation, watch for the prophets, look at the church, what is called the church. I did broadcasts to the effect or to the extent of speaking to the difference between saints and the church as it's known. Please invite the others, let them know we're here. I know it's about an hour after usual time, but I had to be here now as I was impressed to do so. As you observe what is happening in this nation, the troubling times that lie ahead of us, you can put no responsibility in reference to what you shall behold in Guyana. You cannot put the repercussions, the consequences and the wrath that come upon this land on anybody else than the preachers, the prophets. They became emboldened to endorse evil. And you've heard a very, very common statement being made, because it came from Yahweh's word. Woe unto you who call good evil, and evil good. Woe unto you who call what is good evil, and who call what is evil good. When a man, for the sake of money, would praise the wicked, yet call himself righteous, you will incur and cause to be released on any land such degrees of wrath that you cannot pray yourself out of it. For Shemuel, his name is not Samuel, Shemuel, the prophet, said that if a man were to wrong another man, there can always be somebody who intercedes or mediates between the two, and there can be peace. But if a man were to become the enemy of Yahweh, Shemuel, Yahweh's prophet, said, who could pray for him? I don't know why you believe that you could just gather and pray Guyana out of trouble. It doesn't work like that. When the church becomes an enemy of Yahweh, nobody could pray you out of it. You have encouraged people to support unrighteousness. You've encouraged people to support what is wicked, what is diabolical, what is evil. You've encouraged people to endorse a pathological liar. And you expect that when Yahweh said he hates a lying tongue, he doesn't say, but if it's the president, I make an excuse, an exemption. He did not say that if it's a politician, then it's acceptable. Yahweh hates a mouth that lies. Period. You've endorsed what is wicked. We're in the book of First Kings chapter 18. 1 Kings chapter 18. And the scriptures were never written in chapters and verses. They were just subdivided for persons to have easy reference in reference to what you look for. But there was never division of text in the original, because the prophets just wrote. Some of them wrote by their own hands. Others had secretaries who wrote on their behalf. So in this account, Eliyahu, not Elijah, because there's no J sound in the Hebrew alphabet. Therefore, there can be no Jesus, because there's no J sound in the Hebrew alphabet. In the Hebrew dialect, the J is never heard. Therefore, you cannot have a Messiah bearing the name, because names are sounds. And I'm led to speak to this to you all. Names are sounds that identify someone or something. So when someone asks you the question, what is your name? You, for example, say, my name is, I'll say that my name is Nigel. There's a sound. If you are deaf, you'll read my lips, Nigel. And you say, oh, that's Nigel. But even, and pay attention to this, even in the absence of what is audible or what's heard, you still function by sounds. Everything about humanity and how we function are words, because you came about because of words. Let us make man, word, in our image and after our likeness. There's a word that was spoken. Nathan is asking, why did God allow them to go back there to suffer the nation? You have the answer this afternoon, Nathan. So words have produced who we are. If I write my name, Nigel, using English letters, those who can read English will, when they read that, sound it in their heads, because you function by words. And then you will say, based on the sound that you hear in your head first, Nigel. Messiah, Yeshua. That sound of the name has significance to your spiritual existence and experience. Those who call on the name of Yahweh will be saved. There's a sound attached to it. If you proclaim with your mouth the Lord Yeshua, confess with your mouth the Lord Yeshua, which is to make a sound of a name, and you believe in your mind that Yahweh has raised him from the dead, you shall be saved. That is documented. For when that was written, there was never any English language existing. Truth is not subjected to your experience. Truth is not subjected to your experience. Truth is truth. It doesn't require experience to be truth. For before you were born, truth was still, and is still, and has always been. Therefore, in the absence of humanity, truth still is. So don't tell me that you came into this space called the earth and you started having experiences and that is why something is the truth. It is weak. It is actually very silly to say so. Because when you are not born with truth, then truth still exists. That's why Yahweh presented himself to the Pharaoh as Ahaya, which is I am. It was not a name. It's what I'm telling you here, because Pharaoh could have made gods, and they could have made all these gods in Egypt. But he said, none of you could make me. I am, which is Ahaya. I am. You cannot make me. I am self-existing. Before the Pharaoh was, Yahweh is. And even when you use the word is, it speaks to what's current. But to create what is current, you see that it's a mention of time. Yahweh does not exist in time. He created it. So please do not tell me that you can present your experience as an argument in reference to truth, in the court of truth. Truth is. Before you got here, truth is. When you're there, truth still is. Before the world was formed, truth is. Everything that you see around you has nothing to do with whether truth is or is not, because truth always is. We therefore do not apply our experience to determining whether something is true. So is the Messiah's name Yeshua? Yes. Why? Because Yahweh said so. Period. It doesn't matter about my experiences with anything else. Are you more comfortable saying something else? You may be, but that doesn't make it the truth. Is it safer to say something else because it's more acceptable given the number of people who say Jesus? Yes, but is that the truth? No. I have shared with you. I've shared with you that the first time the Africans, the Hebrew people ever encountered the word truth, the word Jesus, it was in the mast of a ship where the flag is flown. And that ship bore the name, the Good Jesus of Lubeck. Imagine, if you're not African, you cannot understand. If you're not Hebrew, you'll never understand what I'm saying to you because it doesn't appeal to you. But can you understand, if you are African, how important this statement is to you? If you're called African, because the land wasn't called Africa all along. If you're from the Hebrew land, do you understand what an experience is when you've had, of course, reports that some people who go to this door, you never see them back. Who go into this building, they never returned. Some people were hiding in the bushes, they managed to escape, break from the chains, whatever, and they hid. And they saw that those who entered that door never came back out. And though they did not know English language, their first encounter with this word was with a ship, and when they were in the dungeons, underground, in filth, above their heads were white men singing and praying to Jesus to be safe as they crossed the Atlantic with us on board. When we became free people, as they claimed to be free, or when they wanted to bargain for freedom as well, they knew that a very important aspect of controlling the African is to control what he believed in. To make you feel spiritually inferior is not an accident. I repeat that. To make you feel spiritually inferior is not an accident. When an African man has to call on a Caucasian leader for defense, for righteousness, for hope, it is not an accident. Do you know who you are? And what price are you prepared to pay to remain who you are? You have known me as an apostle of the Lord Yeshua. I don't care how much I'm hated. I would never subscribe to a lie to be accepted in any circle. And I'm speaking to spiritual matters here. So there was a king named Ahav, 1 Kings 18. This king named Ahav experienced a drought because a prophet said so. Eliyahu, not Elijah. Eliyahu the prophet said they would not rain in this country. And it didn't. So after a long time, verse 1, in the 3rd year of the drought, the word of Yahweh came to Eliyahu after 3 years. Go and present yourself to Ahav. Now mind you, Ahav is this king, Jezebel, not Jezebel. Jezebel's husband was looking for this prophet to kill him. I want to show you how the prophets in Guyana are so wicked. This king was looking for this man to kill him. And Yahweh told this prophet, go now to Ahav. I will send rain upon the earth again. So this prophet didn't say that I have to use wisdom. After all, the king wants to kill me, and I should be wise as a serpent, but harmless as a dove. He didn't say any of that. He got a word to go to the king. Go. Present yourself to the same man who wants to kill you. And I will send rain upon the face of the earth. So Eliyahu went to present himself to Ahav. The famine was severe in Samaria. And Ahav summoned Obadiah, who was in charge of the palace. Now Obadiah greatly feared Yahweh, for when Jezebel had slaughtered the prophets of Yahweh. You need to hear this. This is where this queen, the wife of the king, had slaughtered Yahweh's servants. Why did she slaughter them? She wouldn't kill them if they were on her side. She would not have sought to slaughter them if they were bowing to what she wanted. There's a reason why the PPP has attracted so many preachers from the church. Why? What has made you so accepted in that circle? That you are not slaughtered, that you are not ostracized, they didn't see a reason to attack you. Why? What is it about the church in this country, so many of you, that made you so attractive to the PPP? Tell the world. It is not progress. For the church is never attracted to progress. The church pays attention to power. And when a church is powerless, she will always bow to what appears to be powerful. When a church is powerless, she will always bow to what appears to be powerful. You realized that within your prayer meetings and all these different things, you did not produce results that give you authority in this land. You recognize, I'm talking to your preachers here, that if you maintain your spiritual principle, you will fall way behind in reference to your economic position. If you maintain the order that you preach from your Bibles, you would have lost the ability to stand and be counted among those who have something. The most dominant population in our nation in reference to numbers is the Christian. That population. You more than double the number of Hindus. And more than 10, almost 10 times are you almost than the number of Muslims. And you could not leverage your numerical advantage because you've taught the people in the church that money is blessing. And I warned you about this years ago when I returned in 2015. I said, stop teaching people that wealth speaks to blessing. Because if you teach them that money is blessing, then it means that whoever has a lot of money is blessed. You therefore have cultured the church into thinking that when they see wealth, they must see it as a blessing. When they see a lot of money, it must be seen as a blessing. But if the church stands for righteousness, they would not be seen as blessed because those who control the treasury would not have given them anything. That's how you reasoned. That's how you taught people to function. But a famine was in this land. And Jezebel decided she's going to kill the prophets of Yahweh. But when she killed them, we're in verse 2, Obadiah, 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 2, Obadiah had taken 100 prophets and hid them. He hid them. 50 men per cave, providing them with food and water. Verse 5, then Ahab said to Obadiah, go throughout the land, to every spring and every valley. Perhaps we will find grass to keep the horses and mules alive, so that we will not have to destroy any livestock. So the king here is having an interest in his livestock. while Obadiah had an interest in Yahweh's prophets being saved. Because Yahweh ensured that all of the prophets were never slain. He ensured that some were preserved by one who even lived in the palace. Let me tell you, preacher, something. It doesn't matter what or who is in power in your country. When Yahweh wants to preserve you, he would use somebody from within the palace to keep you. You don't have to be afraid for your safety. When Yahweh wants to preserve you, he can use, and normally does, someone from within the palace circle to preserve your life. Stop being afraid to stand for righteousness. You have told the people in the church that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, they mourn, and you endorse the wicked. So if you know that when the righteous are in authority, the people shall rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people will mourn, what do you expect to be in this country? Mourning or righteousness or celebration? You decide. Because you cannot even tell the congregation that truth. Mourning shall be upon this land. Great mourning. For the first time in Guyana's history, when a president is being sworn in, the USA flew at a low level warplanes Do you hear me? Do you even understand what that signified for your country? They ensured they specified it. They flew because they fly over. Please. But they flew way within your airspace through permission by the government. Granger was objecting to these things. That's why he had to be removed, because Granger said, we don't want to make this country a bedrock, a launching pad, a place of conflict. Out went Granger. Now you have the miracle of all elections. And to signify that you have done well, boys, we got your back. 2 warplanes, 2 fighter jets flew, and Guyanese have never seen them. They saw them today. Never saw them so close in our country. You saw them today, flying over your head. What does that mean? It tells you that the People's Pathetic Party owe their existence to the United States of America. You want to do it? You want to do that? They've told you that for as long as you do what we want, these planes will protect you. If you don't give us what we want, Maduro will deal with you, because Maduro, the Venezuelans will not forget what you've done. What they haven't told you is that Robert Prasad informed you all that there are over 100,000 Venezuelans right here while you got US planes flying overhead. When rulers want to play games, their subjects become collateral. When rulers want to play games, their subjects become collateral. You are used for whatever purpose they choose. mourning, lamentations, wailing, and weeping shall be upon this land. Those who claimed to be spiritual, who claim to know God, have chosen the path of wickedness. You see, I would not have believed, and you could try to doubt now. Before the elections, so you can't say that I did anything untoward here. Before anybody went to the polling station, I spoke for over 3 weeks that the church is the one who will determine the outcome of these elections. I told you that. Then for the first time, we saw the number of preachers who were painting their pages red, saying, yes, this is what we want. This is what we're voting for. Gregory Ram is out there running around. He was quiet all the election most of the time. Now he's out there. Oh, yes, yes. Mr. President, Mr. President. Another one who calls himself a preacher. Running after Irfan. Why? If you, Gregory, are supposed to be light, why do you chase after darkness? Because Irfan is not Christian, so you cannot be light, according to what you are preaching in church. You tell the people, we are the light of the world. That's what you all say. We are the light of the world. If you are light, why are you chasing after darkness? I have never seen light chase after darkness. I have seen darkness be dispelled by light. I've seen light show up and darkness has to disappear. But y'all are chasing after darkness. And the only reason why you can chase after darkness is if you see light in it. Which tells me what you are. Because darkness is the absence of the awareness of light. It doesn't mean that no light is present, by the way. You're just not aware of it. So the times when you may feel as if, okay, when I look across here, I see something that I need, so you call that light. But it's really darkness. Because there are degrees to which something is dark. So you look to Irfan and say, this is what we want. No. What you look for is what you could gain, which is whoredom. That's the action. Yeah, baby. I'm coming. I'm coming. Right. So this king didn't want to lose livestock. So he told Obadiah to go and look for water. Hear me. When you see trouble hit Guyana, they'll be asking these same ones here, please go and find water represent the word, by the way. Please go and find some word, because we are in so much trouble that even y'all around me cannot help me. You can't help me with the livestock, with my resources. I need to hear something. I promise y'all, they will be sending the agents out to find a word. Because when disaster is upon a land, the leader always tries to find something to be said to him. How do I navigate through this disaster? How do I make it? Because those around me can't help me. He sent Obadiah to find a word. Find me some water. I want to show you all something. So they began to explore the land. Verse 7. Now Obadiah went his way. What this? As he went his way, Eliyahu, not Elijah, Eliyahu suddenly met him. When Obadiah recognized him, he fell down and said, is it you, my Lord Eliyahu? Look at how much respect they had for the prophet, this man. That's why Yahweh kept him alive. That's why Yahweh kept him, because this man saw Eliyahu. He fell down on his face and said, is it you, my Lord? Because he knew the power of this prophet. When this man said that it would not rain, the heavens shut up. and the drought came, Eliyahu said, it is I. Go and tell your master. Go and tell the king that I'm here. Look at this prophet. Look at what you call power in a prophet's attitude here. He didn't say, man, let's pray and hope I escape. He said, tell the king that I am here. This is one man. The king has a whole army that could kill Eliyahu. The king had all kinds of chariots and whatever. And Eliyahu said, tell Ahab that I have shown up. The same man he wants to kill, I'm here. Do you know how much power you have to have vested in you, and how much of heaven's authority you have to know that somebody wants to kill you and tell the king, I've come. You want to kill me? I'm here. I'm right here. Let me announce this to all of you. If ever Yahweh sends a prophet or a messenger to speak to the king who wants to kill him, only one of them leaves alive. And once it is the prophet who was sent to speak to the king, I promise you that that king would not live. Yahweh does not allow kings to slay the one he chose. He doesn't do it. When he wants to show forth his power, look at Moshe. He told Moshe, go to the Pharaoh and tell the Pharaoh to let my people go. Now Moshe said, I'm a fugitive. No, he said, no, you go. You go and tell him what I've said. Loose my people so that they may worship me. Moshe had to walk through guards. He was in the palace for years. He knew the palace life. Moshe had to walk through all of that, all of this situation here to see Pharaoh. And mind you, as he walked, nobody arrested Moshe. Now Moshe fled from Egypt. Moshe ran away after he killed the Egyptian. So Moshe was a fugitive who was wanted and he would have been killed. When Yahweh told Moshe, you go and talk to Pharaoh, nobody arrested Moshe. Not Moses. His name is Moshe. Moshe is an Egyptian word, by the way, meaning to be pulled out. Why would Yahweh allow Moshe to pass through all the guards and go straight to Pharaoh? Because when heaven appoints you, no man can touch you. When heaven appoints you, no man can touch you. When heaven appoints you, no man can touch you. They can only lay a finger on you by Yahweh's permission. So the question is asked, why did Yahweh, why would God, the person said, allow the people to go back there so we could suffer? No, there's no we who's going to suffer here. The righteous never suffer. The righteous shall always flourish as a palm tree. The righteous will always flourish as a palm tree. The righteous people don't suffer. When Yahweh turns to a nation to put wrath on it, he doesn't punish his people. He preserves the righteous. He said, I feel like preaching, boy. He said, Yahweh knows how to deliver the righteous, not how to punish the righteous. If he's punishing them for wickedness, he wouldn't punish you for righteousness. You are the light. You are the ones who will stand here and see the reward of the wicked. David said, boy, only with my eyes will I behold and see the reward of the wicked, not suffer like the wicked. This prophet Eliyahu said, tell Ahab that I am here. You tell him I'm here. I have arrived. There's no secret entry. This prophet didn't sneak in anywhere. He didn't call and make a secret text to the president and say, you know, Mr. President, come to see you. He said, go and tell him that I'm here. The same man he wants to kill, I am here. Hallelujah. How do I know that Irfan listens to me and he watches me? Because when I spoke for so many months about the fact that I am not in this for power, I'm in this for responsibility, Irfan stood before the media yesterday and said the same thing day before yesterday. Because he repeated what I said, among many other things. So I know you watch me. And there's one thing I know, Irfan, is like this king here, you understand exactly who I am in this country. You got that much sense. But I don't know whether Yahweh will allow you to maintain that amount of sensitivity and sensibility or sensibleness for a long period of time. It is possible that there's some around you who know me, who will normally tell you, don't do that. You don't want to go there. It is possible that there are those around you who may tell you that this one is not like the rest. Righteous voices are never intimidated. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. The first thing is you do not possess the capacity to be as evil as to do anything to me. You are more fearful than you are evil. You have seen what has become in this land. Every time I tell you of disaster, you see it. You have seen the soil absorb the blood of our people. You have seen when I tell you what Maduro will do to you. You have seen it. And now you are convinced probably that the USA will back you all the way. Just remember that in the not too distant future, there shall be another election in the USA. And should Donald Trump, who I doubt would ever run again, but should Trump or the Democrats take over, the most likely candidate may be Hakeem Jeffries. He may be the president. Heaven help you. Because if the US decides then, listen, we're not a part of this. We're not be involved in this area. We're pulling our forces because you're not going to invest in disturbing the Caribbean. You know what happens to you then? You'll still be called president if you're alive. Where would that leave you? Because don't forget, Venezuela will still be crossing this border. Don't forget that there still be Venezuelans coming over here. So Obadiah had said, man, verse 9, how have I sinned? When Eliyahu told him, go and tell the king I'm here. He said, how have I sinned? That you handing your servant over to have to put me to death? Because he knew. Oh my, yes, Pastor Mel, one righteous seed. That's all you need, one righteous seed. One righteous voice. And that's why I came to this text here today. So, as surely as Yahweh lives, there is no nation or kingdom where my Lord has not sent someone to search for you. So, Obadiah told Eliyahu that Achav was searching for him throughout the nations. One man he wanted to find so badly. Because this one man said, it will not rain. And in his quest to find this one man, he searched and he made nations have to swear to him. He said, didn't you receive the report? I'm going to paraphrase it. He said, didn't you get the report that I hid prophets and all that? So why would you now send me to this king? Because if I go to the king, Achav, and you don't show up, he will kill me. Verse 15. Then Eliyahu said, as surely as Yahweh lives, my Lord, as surely as Yahweh Sabaoth, which is the Yahweh of hosts, Yahweh the Lord of armies, my God, as surely as Yahweh lives, before whom I stand, said Eliyahu, I will present myself to Achav today. All right. Verse number 16. So Obadiah went to inform Achav, who went to meet Eliyahu. When Ahab saw Eliyahu, you all need to hear this text. Verse 16 of 1 Kings 18, verse 16. When Ahab saw, verse 17 now, when Ahab the king saw Eliyahu the prophet, he said to him, "Is it you, O troubler of Israel?" Oh, Pastor Mary in 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 17. He said, "Is it you, you troubler of Israel? Is it you, London? Every time you open your mouth is something about Guyana. Is it the man, London, from Linden? That one who always got something negative to say?" Yes, it is. One of my daughters, somebody asked me, "Daddy, are you not going to inauguration?" No! Go there for what? I would not go to celebrate or be a part of any circular judgment. Judgment is sure. If you are spiritual in the least and you're pure, you would sense what is over this land. The fact that the USA allowed, or Guyana allowed, 2 fighter jets, war planes as we call them that, to fly so low over your land, not your sea. Oh my God, help them today. Listen, if you are 20% spiritual, the fact that Guyana allowed 2 military aircraft equipped with missiles to fly so low over your land, not over the sea, it should tell you something if you're spiritual. What does it tell you? He who has an ear to hear will hear. If you don't have an ear to hear, you can never hear. You'll hear sound, but you won't hear. The battle, the disaster will not be out in the ocean. It shall be over your land. You can learn. You shall learn. There's an eeriness. There's a darkness. There's a weight over this land. You can almost touch it. The prophet stood or sat, wrapped himself in the Guyana flag and lied. Remember that? Who said Aubrey will be the president? I don't make noise. He lied because he wanted Aubrey to be president. Is Aubrey not the president? Is he remotely close to being the president? Because you need to understand it. Toya, when you see Yahweh puts an apostle, and he didn't put 1, he put 2. He put 3 in the same house, 4 in the same place. And we were actively involved in these elections. You believe that was by chance? No, it was not by chance. Because there's a turning of judgment, of wrath. So he said, "Is this the trouble of Israel?" So let's see what how the prophet spoke to the king. Because Irfan demanded the Travis Chase to the journalist, have respect. Irfan, I would that you tell me that. I would that you tell me that I have to call you anything called president. Let's see how the prophet responded when he said, "Oh king, oh great king," or whatever. So verse 19, verse 18 as a matter of fact, 1 Kings 18:18. "I have not troubled Israel," Eliyahu replied, "but you, oh my God, and your father's house have." Does that sound like a scary prophet to you? Does he sound afraid to you? Did he sound afraid here? He said, you and your father's house did it, not me. For you have forsaken the commandments of Yahweh and have followed the Baals, which are lords, Lord, by the way. Read the King James. You followed after them. You thought it was right. You followed these wicked gods, this evil. You did it. Now summon all Israel to meet me on Mount Carmel, along with the 450 prophets of Baal. The word B-A-A-L is translated L-O-R-D. Baal means Lord, not transliterated. Because B-A-A-L are English letters. So it's already been transliterated, meaning that you took the letters of one alphabet and you use letters of another alphabet to have the same sound when you say the word. That's what transliteration means. So don't tell me that Jesus is a transliteration of Yeshua. It cannot be. To transliterate, literacy speaks to how you can read and how you write. So to trans or change, to go across, transliterate speaks to using the letters of one alphabet. You take the letters of another alphabet and you match them to have the same sound in the end, as close as possible. So B-A-A-L is already a transliteration from the original Hebrew term. But it now can be translated. So you can ask the question, what does Baal mean? Now you ask me for the translation, not transliteration. So I've written it in another language using letters of English. Now you ask me, what does the word Baal mean? I'm telling you what it means. That's now you're translating it. Baal means Lord. So when you're in the church and you're talking about the Lord, which Lord are you talking about? Because the Lord is not a name. So Eliyahu told the king, you bring the 450 prophets. You bring them and bring all of Israel to Mount Carmel. Let's go to Mount Carmel. Because the wickedness of these prophets must be addressed. He said, let us go. I'm not the wicked person. You did it. Look at how this man spoke to a king. Obadiah was afraid to even tell the king that Eliyahu was around, because he said he'd be killed if Eliyahu doesn't show up. Now Eliyahu showed up and told the king, you are the wicked, you're the problem, not me. Now go bring your prophets. And you bring all of Israel to Mount Carmel. Bring them. So it's 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table. So it's 850 prophets. He said, y'all come up here against me alone. All the churches in Guyana against me alone. No problem. Y'all come. So Ahav summoned all the Israelites. He did exactly what the prophet said. This big bad man who wanted to kill Eliyahu, when Eliyahu showed up, he didn't say, I'll kill you. He had to do what the prophet said. So he summoned the prophets, all the Israelites, and assembled the prophets on Mount Carmel. Then Eliyahu approached all the people and said, how long? No, you know the rest of the text, but let me go here with you all. How long will you waver between two opinions? If Yahweh is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. Now, why is this text so important to us this afternoon? And I know that those who spent 20 minutes in church are familiar with the situation. You know, but Elijah is Eliyahu and the prophets of Baal. You know that. But here's what I want you to know. The prophet of Yahweh stood before all of Israel. And I want you to hear what he said to them. How long will you waver between two opinions? Church of the living God Yahweh, hear me. Israel would have been asked a question that I never took time, because of the absence of revelation, to really dive into until he released me to do this. The prophet of Israel asked the nation of Israel a question that you cannot miss. How long will you waver between opinions? What was the opinion about? He clarified it. If Yahweh is God, serve him. If Baal is God, serve him. Israel, the nation who belonged to Yahweh, would have been having differences of opinions regarding who really is Lord. Help them today, Father. Israel, who would have been brought out of Egypt, who would have been always taught their history, who knew what Yahweh did to Pharaoh, who knew about the feast of Israel, who knew about the God. That's why he mentioned Yahweh's name to them. He said, if Yahweh is God, serve him. If Baal is God, then serve him. Because he didn't have to tell them Yahweh's name is Yahweh. They knew who Yahweh was. But in the space in which they found themselves, they interacted so much with what was false that they began to question whether if what is false is actually true. There were so many false prophets around them that they began to wonder if what they were seeing is actually true. That is the danger of hanging around falsehood for too long. I said, when I read this text and began to meditate, I said, can you imagine? Can you imagine that Israel of all nations, who serve the only true and living God, whose name is Yahweh, would have been brought to a place where a prophet had to come and tell them, why are you wavering? Don't you know who Yahweh is? He said, no, hold on, let's make this simple for you. If you believe that Yahweh is God, serve Yahweh. But you have another opinion on the other side, which is, and you're wavering between the two. So one time you say, well, Yahweh is God. Then next you say, well no, Baal is God. Then no, Yahweh is. And you're measuring this based on experience. It took one voice to say to them, let's solve the problem today. In this country of Guyana, the preachers have made the church comfortable with calling what is evil good. So you had debates where you're wondering now the PPP may not be bad. Oh, they're bad. With Adriana Young, they're bad. With the 20 children from Madrid, they're bad. But with the roads and construction that gets some money from, oh, they're good. Once I get some money from them, oh, they're good. Once you get some a little, I could not believe that the churches in Linden, Pastor Mill, Daddy, the churches in our beloved Linden got black tank. Some of you will know what I'm talking about. 400-gallon water tank. Can you imagine that a part of the package to win the churches in Linden, the most oppressed community in this country, in reference to how they treat it, they got black water tanks. How could you be a preacher saying that the cattle on 1,000 hills belong to your God, and you go to collect black tank for church? So your God can't give you water in the church? You expect these people to respect you all? Do you honestly expect these people to have any regard for the church when you all behave the way you do? Black tax and contract? This is a disgrace. The blood of your people are still in the ground at the bridge. Water can't wash away blood. Just remember that. The blood of the blood of innocence. And those who are fighting just to have a chance to live and be comfortable is still in the ground. Water doesn't wash it away. It washes it from the road. It doesn't wash it from the ground. Black tank. And some of your followers making a deliberate effort to announce that, oh, we didn't want to choose APNU. We didn't want to choose Win because Muhammad is said to be evil. But we chose the PPP. That's the only option you had. The only option you had was to choose among three, APNU, Win, or the PPP. You compel persons to not support a righteous stance, righteous voices, voices that spoke to what is proper, decent and orderly. Black tank, 400 gallons of water, the capacity of liquid. Are you not ashamed? You're halting between opinions. Is the PVP bad or are they good? When we see Queen Nabacus, they were bad. But when we get some donations from through whoever it is, of course it comes through a certain man, the bishop, oh, it's good. When we see our ambassador being shot in his bed, riddled with bullets, oh, that's bad. But when we need to have a building built and they come and give us some donations, oh, they're good. When you see 20 children burning life in Mali, oh, that's bad. But when you get offerings and aid and promises that you get a few, I'll give some of your members some contracts and you two pastors will get 2 contracts among you. Oh, that's good. When you see the little girl crying out about Damlal raping her, pleading for justice from the policemen or for a case to be heard, oh, that's bad. But when they promise you, they give you a few black tanks, that's good. When you saw Adriana being, Alisa Adriana was in the pool all along, you know she was not in the pool for 20 hours, that was bad. Because they appealed to something, some part of you, where you felt a little something, oh my God, that's so bad, I don't like how they did to that girl. But then they came and they said to you, oh no, we have trillions of dollars to be spent. We put you in charge, we give your son a contract, we give your daughter a little scholarship, we're going to ensure that y'all get some more black tanks, we're going to ensure that some of y'all who are friends with Edwin and so on, y'all going to be alright, we're going to take care of you. Oh, they're not bad, it's not that bad after all. You're wavering between opinions. When Anil Nandlal got up, you didn't vote yet, and Anil said the coffee was an upstanding and a proud house slave, and you said, oh my God, how could he say that? You all black ones, you're not Africans, you black ones said, oh my God, this fella is racist. You got mad. How can he say that? So now you know that you're not going to vote now. You're vexed. Then the thought hit you by Monday morning. If I don't vote for the PPP, I wouldn't get $2 million in my pocket. And I never had $2 million in my pocket in my whole life. So I have to make a choice. Yes, it's bad that Anil said what he said. But Anil could just say that. We can deal with that later on. Let's ensure that we take care of ourselves first. You wavered between opinions because in your wavering, you relied on your experiences and greed. Guyana is in trouble. And you have never done it. Neither shall you be able to do it. You cannot pray a nation out of Yahweh's wrath. I told you that. Once you begin to do things that upset him, you cannot pray your way out of it. You can't fast your way out of it. You cannot. Your only recourse is repentance. And there are preachers now who are celebrating their position in reference to their association with wickedness. There are preachers who are celebrating today their position in reference to their association with wickedness. So some of them feel important because in their minds, I am closer to the wicked than you are. That's not how they're seeing it, but I'm telling you what it is. They're saying, I'm closer to Jack Dio. I'm a good friend of your fans. Oh, Edgel is my boy. I could call him right now. So in their heads, the closer they are to the top, the better off they are. But you don't recognize how judgment works. You don't understand how judgment works. You feel because you have access to wickedness and you can receive from it favors, you think you're safe. But the prophets who were closest to Jezebel and the prophets who were closest to Achav suffered the worst fate. Guyana will see, and Guyana shall know. I will not grieve for one of y'all, and I am warning y'all, don't tell me that I should not be insensitive. Don't do it. When they begin to experience what they're experiencing, do not come on my page and tell me that I should offer condolences to anybody. Don't do it. I don't grieve for wicked people. Don't do it. I am not a politically correct person. I have never been politically correct. I've been righteous, not politically correct. I don't know how to be politically correct. I know how to be righteous. And when wrath is visited upon them, I shall not in any way offer any condolences. There's no speech coming from me. I shall not be joining with the nation to mourn for anybody because I'm not mourning. You will see and you will know that a voice was speaking to you for over 5 years. Yahweh preserved Ahab's kingdom, kept him as king. Yahweh preserved Jezebel, kept her as queen, didn't make them lose any war, kept them in power, so that Eliyahu, not Elijah, his name is Eliyahu, so that Eliyahu could return to see them. Understand that. And you know the text we'll get into later. When he did all of that, not Achav, Achav's wife said that she said, I will kill you. When he slew the prophets and she saw what happened, she said, I will kill you. But that same Eliyahu fled because he seemed to have forgotten that Yahweh is the one who told him, go to Achav. But what I love is that he fled for her to be convinced that she had power to kill him. She felt empowered because if a prophet could run from me, I must be doing something. And I must be powerful. Every action of a prophet so let me answer Brother Aubrey. He said, Apostle, what does let the dead bury their dead mean? It speaks to the fact that they were spiritually dead. So there's two deaths he's speaking here. One is a physical death, and the other one is those who are spiritually dead. So you're saying those who are spiritually dead, you bury your dead. Because you see, there was a young man who said he had to go to bury his father, something to that effect. When Yeshua called him, he said, I have to go and bury my father, and then I'll come back. He said, no. Let the dead bury their dead. The spiritually dead, you're going to deal with that. Because there's no resurrection there. Come and follow me. Thank you for the question. And since with that, I must say thank you so much for the care, the concern, the time, and the encouragement you've given to me consistently. I am most grateful for Yahweh choosing you to obey the truth. It couldn't come by human will. You had to have been chosen to obey the truth. Walk in that truth. Uphold that truth. With your eyes shall you behold and see the reward of the wicked. I love you all, and I bid you shalom. May the peace of Yahweh keep you. I know that it will. Thank you so much, Daddy. He will preserve the righteous. Thank you, my Father spoken. Yahweh shall preserve the righteous. Do well. Do well.